Hello, welcome back to the channel. And today we're looking at another figure from Hot Toys. This time around it's the Mandalorian and the Child, the TMS0015, from the first season of the Mandalorian TV show, which in my opinion is the only good season of that show, and probably first or the best or maybe second best TV show from the modern Star Wars age, and or might be rivaling that, and I'm also quite a fan of the Rogue One story. But I digress. The Mandalorian TV show first season, in my view, is very, very good. It's got everything you want in the universe that I personally like so very much, and I was very happy to grab this figure from actually eBay seller. It's a second-hand figure, but it's in a very good shape, and it was a banging deal, so I couldn't pass on it, and I really wanted to have Mando in a 1/6 scale in my collection. So and even though I got this figure second-hand on eBay, usually I grab my figures of Gundam and a quick word from them.
I buy almost all of my figures and third-party kits at Gundam0015. They offer great prices, awesome customer service, and a nice points program. If you decide to shop for your next kit or figure there and would like to support this channel even more, consider using reviewer code SKH. It helps the channel a lot. As always, do your own research and only purchase from stores that you are comfortable with. Now, back to the video.
So, this figure comes with quite a package of accessories and optional parts. Let's begin with the most obvious part, is the Beskar armor. It's not the OG version that you see in a TV show before Mando gets his big payday, but it is right after the upgrade, with the pauldron still being old school. So the Beskar armor here obviously is plastic. It's using some silver paint, and there is a little bit of shine to it. It's not quite as much shine, or the shine is not really as deep as the feeling you get watching the TV show. On a TV show they did a really good job making it look like metal, even though obviously the prop suit was not metal. The undersuit there is a very slight color difference between the upper and the lower body. The lower body is a bit brighter shade of like deep brown gray, and they some like kind of wear marks, or like it's aging, its patina is a bit bluish. On the TV show it's more like worn out brown. But overall the color and consistency is pretty nice, and obviously to achieve more articulation in this scale the suit has to be a bit baggy, even though obviously the inner frame, the actual structure is quite movable. The suit is the limiting factor there, and if it wasn't as baggy as it is, you wouldn't be able to even do like elbow and knee bands, which we will go through articulation later. So the suit is pretty well done. It's tight enough to the body to still let you have some articulation. The fingers shade of orange, it really depends on what screen you watch on and what quality you watch on. On some of my screens the fingers on a TV show look more saturated orange, like more like flames. On some they look more like brighter orange, like Hazard. So it's not bad. They're still pretty well molded and nicely painted. You get 7 hands options. Obviously you can see right now I have closed fists attached to the figure. Then you have 5 more hands that are here separate. So you have trigger fingers left and right, then you have holding fingers left and right, and you have additional right holding hand for the dagger that the Mando has. So you can see here are the holding hands. Let's focus on that. There you go. See, it's like a more open up hand, and it's at about like 45-degree angle. Then you have 2 trigger hands. It's a 90-degree holding angle. focus as well. So a straight up trigger hand, and then you have one like semi-closed hand with the index finger pretty close to the thumb finger so that you can hold the tiny dagger that this comes with. Let's put them back. Then the cape is also pretty nicely done. It's not tattered, even though in the show there's it becomes tattered at some point. It's a nice kind of suede execution. It's thick enough to where it has some weight to it. So it drapes over the shoulders and the back of the figure very nicely. Not entirely sure how it's gonna stand the test of time. It does feel like it's gonna be a bit of a dust magnet. I hope it's not gonna disintegrate on its own over time. And speaking of disintegration, the belt and the kind of the ammo over shoulder attachment and the holster for the pistol are all pleather by the looks of it. So and some of this pleather is obviously structural. The rifle, the sniper rifle that Mando uses, actually attaches by this strap to the front of the chest ammo pouch, and also is attached by this magnet pleather strap here on the back. So if this thing disintegrates completely, you might then struggle to keep the rifle attached to the back of Mando. An entire belt might eventually disintegrate as well, but I guess take it or leave it. I don't know if they're ever gonna remake it without using pleather, rather nylon or something else. Chest armor is layered as it's supposed to be, so obviously you have the undersuit, then you have the under the armor plate, and then you have the armor plate itself, as you saw in a TV show. And you know that originally when he has his tattered like old armor, even the under vest thingy is like more of a soft fabric, and then it becomes more like rubberized support or dampening under vest, and this is done pretty well. Might be a bit too bright of a shade to be show accurate, but it's not bad. It adds additional kind of color contrast. The right shoulder armor, you have two options. They are Velcro attached. So you have a Beskar option without the Mudhorn signet, and one with the Mudhorn signet. To me, the obvious choice is to use with the Mudhorn signet. More detail, more highlight, why not? Then what else do we have? Then we have obviously the singing birds, an accessory that Mando gets as part of his upgrade, armor upgrade during the first season. So you have a few options there. You obviously have an option with the loaded whistling birds and ready for action. Then you have with the, is it singing birds? It's whistling birds, my bad. So then you have with the charges completely depleted, and then you also have the whistling birds attachment with the effect parts, very kind of cloudy effect parts with the birds flying away. The effect part is not too bad. I would have preferred if it was more like fanning out and then coalescing together to strike the target. Would have been a bit more dramatic effect. But it's not bad. And also I would have preferred the loaded option for whistling birds to have the tips at least colored or like painted in maybe bright blue, just the tips. So like in a TV show when they are being loaded for the first time or when they are being primed, they kind of light up. So it would have been nice to have that detail, but alas, nothing like that. The right gauntlet is a bit more bare, so it doesn't have any whistling bird attachment as per the show, but you can detach the fist and attach the flamethrower effect. Or you can attach the flamethrower effect to the right wrist. It attaches to the forearm guards that completely slide out. They're not connected to the suit, and they have cutouts on them to allow you to attach the effect part for the flamethrower. The grapple gun, there is no really gun because it shoots out of the forearm armor part, but it's a very thin wire that you can pose around, and the way you attach it is by sliding it under the suit. And so in between the inner structure and the suit, you kind of carefully wiggle it in, and it kind of holds itself there. There is no hard attachment point on the suit that I was able to find. Going further down, as I mentioned already, the pleather holster for the blaster, very accurate, very classy looking blaster that Mando has. Nothing really special about the blaster. It's fairly decently painted, and very little weathering on it, and a little bit of weight, even though it's completely plastic. Then, as we keep on going down, the shin armor is somewhat show accurate. So on the show, I believe the left shin armor was a bit baggier. It had more folds in it, at least to my memory. The boots seem to be very accurate. They are disconnected from the shin armor as they are supposed to be. The right shin armor has the extra ammo on it. This ammo is not removable. Some of the ammo up above is removable. And there you can also holster the dagger. There is no like dedicated holster, but there is a little bit of space between the right shin armor and the right suit on the right leg. The dagger seems to be fairly accurate. The hilt is fairly weathered, but the weathering is done in such a way that it looks more like it's got mold on it rather than weathering. It's not bad, but if you look at it too close, it looks rather moldy than weathered or tethered out or scratched. So the rifle is pretty nicely done. It's very, very nicely colored. It's obviously quite a substantial in size accessory. The scope is removable, and you can hold it in hands to imitate a scene from the show. It's not easily removable, but it is removable. There you go. So the scope can be held separately up to the visor using one of the holding hands. What I don't like about the rifle is about the scope attachment in particular is the angle at which it attaches is a bit too aggressive. So I believe it has, like, obviously it has to be zeroed in on the end of the rifle, so it's not supposed to be exactly parallel to the barrel, but this angle is like it's looking under the like the center line if you were to extend it. So a bit of an oversight by Hot Toys. And the rifle has a reloading mechanism, so you can open the chamber and you can imitate a scene where he reloads and tries to slide the cartridge in. It doesn't really have a full mechanism, and the cartridge, I believe, doesn't really go in. Let's check real quick. So we can remove one of the cartridges from the chest pouch. And we can kind of slide it in here a little bit. Alright, so it goes in the full way, great, but obviously there is no ejection mechanism to get it out of there, you just have to flip it around. But it's, you know, you can imitate a scene of reload, like a partial reload like this, and I just slide it down, it fully closes in, and the ammo is in. And the weapon is ready to fire. So in terms of other accessories that you get with the deluxe version of this figure, you also have the child. Obviously, you have a stand-in figure of a child along with the pendant. This is the Mythosaur pendant that Din Djarin gives to Grogu at some point during the first season, and obviously Mythosaur is a very big thing, a very big part of the Mandalorian lore. And you also have the child on the pram itself, and the pram is very nicely done. It's very nicely weathered. It has that transparent stand, so it creates like a hovering pram effect, and the egg can be opened up, and here on the inside you have a magnetically affixed another version of the child with the ears a bit more sprung and in a better mood, I guess. And it has a little blanket in there. It's very spacious, very large pram, and this baby doesn't have legs, so it magnetically attaches to the pram and hovers in it happily. Then you can just disattach it, slide it back, the magnet holds it in place, and you can close the pram. Boom, there you go. Then furthermore, we got the hologram effect of the Mandalorian armor, just a straight up transparent slightly blue tinted plastic like aqua color. No LED in it, even though I think it would have been very good if there was an LED inside this thing, because it begs for one. Then you have stacks of Beskar armor, so you have a big stack of it, like this is a single molded piece. Then you have a magnetically attached smaller stack, and then you have a single piece of Beskar that's not magnetically attachable to complete the set. Furthermore, we have the charges. So Mando obviously carries charges on his belt on the left. You have two that are permanently affixed and one that's removable. The downside of the removable one is it's great to be able to play around with it, but it doesn't really slide back in, so the holster spot cannot really hold it, because the cutout for it, so you can see there is like a slight cutout for it there. It's not big enough to fit it in. I thought about maybe trying to widen that cutout with a knife or something like that, but I really don't want to risk messing the figure up. So I'm just gonna have it posed around in a beauty shots and in my display shelf without the third detonation charge. Maybe I'll just stick it somewhere inconspicuously, and somebody on my shelf is going to be in danger. Then you also have the jetpack with two fire effects. Nothing really special about it. A felt pad on the back so you don't scratch the suit. It's magnetically attachable. You're gonna have to kind of swap the cape away to attach it, as in the show. There is no LED inside it, so the effect parts unfortunately will not light up. Then you have the stand and the base for the figure itself. It's a very hefty articulated arm, sleeved in rubber. This is the crab that kind of holds the figure itself, with the pattern as it should be, so you're not afraid of damaging the figure when you pose it around. The stand is very, very small for the size of the figure, and pre-molded steps, footprints pretty much limit you to just one foot position on this thing, unless you want to have your Mando supported solely by this thing and not resting his weight on the base of the stand. You're gonna have to kind of pretty much pose feet to stand in there. And last but not least, you also have the Cam Tono. It's the carrier for Beskar that this set comes with. It's a bit of a hassle to open it up, so they try to imitate the gimmick from the show, how it opens up. So like if you get this and you're wondering how to open it without damaging it, basically what you got to do, let's make sure that the camera is focusing on this. You grab it on the sides and you extend the bottom of it, and then you slide it down, and then it opens up. Right, so, and if you want to close it, once again, you slide the top part towards the Camtono, you slide it in, and then you flip the bottom part. And then you flip the bottom part, I said. Yeah, there you go, there you go. So if you want to open it, you grab the sides, there is a little bit of protrusion there, just a little bit. You grab the sides, you slide it to the bottom, and then you open it up. So Camtono is a nice touch. very much a pivotal thing in the show. This is where Mando gets his armor from that payday. But so this Camtono comes with an LED gimmick. The way you access the gimmick is by removing the top part. The instruction set tells you exactly how to do that. And so there is an on and off switch, and it comes with 3 LR 5-to-1 batteries, which is a bit of a weird choice because usually figures and kits, if they use small batteries, they use LR 6-to-1, which are just a little bit bigger enough to where they don't fit here. But I didn't have any of those on hand, and I didn't want to, you know, wait for them to be delivered to my house, blah, 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 to do this review. Plus, I absolutely despise battery-powered LED gimmicks in figures because it's a death sentence for LEDs. You're never going to be able to use them for any meaningful amount of time, and I really like to have my LEDs functional to where, to my mind, if a figure or a model kit has an LED, it has to be USB powered, and I want to have an option to plug it in my USB power distributor, and which is in turn plugged into a smart outlet, so I can turn on all of my kits and all of my figures LED effects at a specific time of the day in the evenings, and then turn them off in a couple of hours without having to worry about it, and actually enjoying the figures in a proper light conditions with the highlights being effective. This figure in particular comes with only one LED set that you have in Camtono. It's a one single LED, and it's powered by batteries, and screw that. So what I decided to do is I soldered 2 wires and ran the wire that obviously is quite visible, but maybe I'm hoping that it just somehow fits the Star Wars aesthetic, even though this figure doesn't have much mechanical detail to it anywhere, but it's very common in Star Wars for the equipment to be a bit shoddy, to have mechanical details come through, to have something kind of shot apart or taken apart a little bit so you can see the wires sticking out of it and stuff like that. So you have a thin black and white twisted wire coming out of Camtono, and then obviously it runs to a USB termination, and it also has a resistor that puts down the USB power to 3 volts here. So now Camtono, my Camtono at least, can be always on. It will always have the orange light lighting the ASCAR inside it. And now I can plug it to my USB distributor on my shelf, and then it turns on at 6 p.m. every day and turns off at 9. And I'm very glad about it, because batteries, screw batteries. And yeah, that's about it in terms of package. If you can get this at a very good deal, and you're a fan of Mandalorian, I think this is a great figure to get. Is it perfect? No, not by any means, but I think it's about as good as it gets, especially if you get it for a good amount of money. Not full price, I don't think. And kind of got it that the Camtono LED effect is not USB powered, but I also know that it's only somewhat recently that Hot Toys started making sure that their LED effects are USB powered. Some of my future figures that I'm looking forward to buying or receiving claim to have USB power, so very excited to see that. And yeah, nice accessory set, pretty cool figure. Very happy I have it in my collection now. Hopefully this review helps you make the right decision whether to get this one or not. Looking forward to interacting with you in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope you enjoy the beauty shots that will follow. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.